General quarters, all hands, man your battle stations.
Broadcasting live on 1470 AM, 95.3 FM, iHeart Radio, and the World Wide Web. This is the Tom Trento Show. Make America think again.
And your host today, your host every day, your host today on November 20th, the Blacklisted Tom Trento, according to Google, the gigantic trillion-dollar tech company that owns everything. That's right. Google owns everything in the world. I don't know if you know that. They just bought Amazon this morning, and they bought the Ukraine. They bought the country of the Ukraine. Google now owns the Ukraine. So Google, if you listened to yesterday's show, if you didn't, you can go to theunitedwest.org, theunitedwest.org. That's our Blacklisted website. Seriously, folks, we have been blacklisted by Google. Go to the United West, look at our podcasts somewhere, pull the pull down bar. Listen to yesterday's show, the 19th. I spent a half hour on explaining that the Wall Street Journal launched this tremendous multi-month investigation into the algorithms, the hands-free, no human involvement in any sort of pejorative or censorious manner with blacklisting, blackballing, eliminating conservative groups. It's a lie. The Wall Street Journal validated the fact that hundreds of conservative groups have been black. They're on a piece of paper called the Blacklist by Google, and our organization, the United West, yes, me and the team, were on that. It was on Fox News yesterday, all over conservative media, Breitbart, all of that. So you're listening to Tom Trento, the United West,
the Blacklisted,
the Blacklisted people.
Tom Trento.
The Blacklisted. Kind of racist, you know. Why not the whitelisted? Why not they say the Blacklisted? You know, whatever.
It's a white piece of paper, you know.
I know, it's a white piece of paper. In any event, you're listening on AM, on the AM side. If you're listening on the AM side, 1470, 1470, which also happens to be the last four numbers to our phone for calling in. I'm going to give you that number in a little bit. I'm going to let people call in.
We're going to let
today.
people call in now, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let the nutcases call in, you know.
Let the crazies call in.
But good people, I'm sure, will call in, too. And if you're on the FM side, it's 95.3, 95.3. You can also go to the website, WWNNradio.com, and just click on live, and you can listen on your radio, on your computer or your iPhone, or you can download iHeart Radio and WWNN 1470, and you can play on iHeart anytime. Well, a lot of things going on. Midweek Wednesday, what I'd like to do is I got a variety of subjects I may or may not deal with, depending on how the Muse, the M-U-S-E, the Muse leads today. You know, our show is an educational show, and not the NPR kind of entertainment. Mark, you ever hear the NPR kind of entertainment?
No.
Or the NPR kind of radio. It goes something like this.
Oh, the snoozer radio? Snoozer radio?
Yeah, it's something like this. I don't know how people listen to it, but it's like, on today's show, we're going to feature onions. Onions are the super vegetable.
Soup of the soul.
Onions can change your life, and we have 11 experts on onions. They're going to speak today about, Bob, are you ready for the show?
Now, Tom.
Yes, Mary, I'm ready for
Tom,
the show.
do you peel or do you unpeel an onion,
Do you peel
Tom?
or do you unpeel? Nah, that's not our kind of education. Ours is a little more in high gear, slam. The RPMs are in the red, and we like to entertain a little bit.
And we're blacklisted.
But we give you tremendous information. And in shows we have planned for the rest of this year and all of next year, our objective is activism, to activate conservatives to get into the public square. In particular, 1,000,001 evangelical Christians to recognize their moral right and their civic responsibility to vote, to just share their opinion as to who the elected officials should be. We have 3 million in Florida that aren't voting. So we have a very sophisticated campaign to reach out to 1,000,001. And whether Trump wins, loses, whoever the elected officials are, if we get 1,000,001 pro-American, pro-Israel, pro-family, pro-Constitution Christians in the public square, that can only be for good if you hold to the United States Constitution and the Judeo-Christian worldview. If you're on the other side of the spectrum, obviously this is frightening what we're talking about. But right now at 11:08 in the morning, Tom Trento, your host. We are an activism show, and we like to activate, to provide information, to motivate people to do something. That's called activism. On the forefront of the news, I don't think for much longer, because these hearings, again, apart from, I know, they're snoozers, and they're gigantic money losers. I tweeted out yesterday, the suits at CNN, the executives at CNN, who have this, we got to get Trump. I mean, they went on record 4 years ago. Right now, they're kicking themselves because they are losing multi-million dollars of advertising revenue by running this thing that you can't run ads on and that nobody's watching.
Double.
It's a double whammy against the economics of CNN. But, that's life in the big city. The hearings are on the forefront of news. We're going to cut to them in a couple of minutes.
They're silent right now.
Oh, they're silent.
That's good.
They left.
Yeah, they left. They're on break. They're on break.
That's the
that's the best thing that happens is when they go on break.
That's the difficulty of a live show. You never know whether they're going to be there or not there, but it doesn't matter. Because we've been watching, we've been reading, we know what's going on. Breaking news: European Union Ambassador Sondland says he never heard directly from Trump on Ukraine. Quid pro quo. I got a lot to say on that in a minute. But
these expert witnesses, are they expert witnesses for Republicans or the Democrats? I'm not really quite sure about that, because every time the Democrats call up a witness, it seems like they turn out really great for the Republicans.
This is day 4. It started Friday, and now we're on Wednesday. And I watch the opposition news. I'll throw Fox on once in a while, but I read the opposing position. I know my position. I read the opposing position to see if they have anything that's compelling. If they come up, look.
I don't know how you do it.
An ass in the Bible was used by God to speak something properly. Balaam's ass, Balaam's donkey. So anybody, even Schiff, can say something that makes sense. You can't a priori eliminate the fact that Schiff may have something. Oh, you know what? With him, maybe you can.
Yes, I
maybe
can.
there's an exception to the rules of logic, and nothing ever this guy can say. He is so.
I'm in that camp, Tom.
He's so bought and sold to the devil. I mean, really, to the devil.
He really is.
It's unbelievable. But where was I? What was I talking about? The hearings right now. Every day, starting from last week on CNN. And when I watch CNN, I don't sit in my chair. I take any weapons that may be in the room. I remove them. I have someone, one of my friends here at the office or whatever, duct tape my hands to the chair. They move the remote away from me so I can't harm the television. And I have to listen and I have to watch. It's my job. It's my job to do that so you at home don't have to do that. You can go to the beach. You can play golf. You can go to the club. You can play with your kids. We'll tell you all you need to know. And what you need to know is nothing here. Nothing here. Every day today we have a groundbreaking witness that in his testimony, sources have told us that he's going to devastate the president.
Bombshell.
It's over.
Bombshell.
The next one, bombshell testimony coming today. And then everybody listens to the testimony and goes, what?
What bomb?
But in the evening, they said, oh, the bombshell testimony. And you look at these people at CNN and MSNBC, are they on another universe? And the answer is yes.
Yes.
They're on another intellectual universe, another moral universe. Why? Because when Donald Trump came down those stairs at Trump Tower in Manhattan back in 2015 and said, you know what? I'm putting everything on hold. I'm going to give this thing a shot. I'm going to run for the presidency. All the people, all the lefties, all the Hollywood stars, the athletes, all the musicians, everybody that was anybody in New York and California who wanted to be at a Trump event, wanted to hang out with Trump. It was the Oscar of golf, to play golf in a foursome with Donald Trump. Everybody was positioning to do that.
Yep.
He was a real estate mogul. He did amazing stuff. He's a philanthropist. He has his own jets and helicopters and his own super duper television. Everybody wanted to be. But when he came down the stairs and said, I'm going to run as a Republican, heads exploded, hearts broke, and the anger and the vitriol got directed at him from before the election on November 3rd, 2016. And many of these people went on record saying, we're going to impeach this guy. If he makes it, we're going to impeach him.
Tom, can I bring up something? I remember on MSNBC when they brought Trump on, they were like lovey-dovey. Oh, you're the world's greatest, Donald. I mean, I'm talking, Mika and Joe Scarborough, all of them were just like, oh, you're the most wonderful. You're doing such great work, blah, blah, blah. Even Jesse Jackson, oh, God, you're doing really great. Then as soon as he came down out of the elevator, boom.
Boom, it was over. Well, here's what we're going to do this morning, folks. So hang on, tell your friends to tune in. Got a very interesting show. Every show is interesting. But I'm opening it up, and I'm going to read some information or explain some information to you. Mm-hmm. But the call-in number is very simple. We here at WNN, we go back to the 8s. You know when you have an 800 number? But then they got all jammed up, and now it's 888, 888. So 888. You listening? Here's a mnemonic device. 3 8s. How could you not forget that? 888. Then 565. You think 56? And then you jump back one more. 565. And then the call station numbers, 1470. Everybody repeat after me.
888.
888. I'm supposed to go first, Mark.
Oh, sorry.
888.
888.
565.
565.
1470.
1470.
Okay, now, Mark, do it backwards.
Oh, 0741 565 888.
All right, but that's not the number, so give him the right number, please. 888-565-1470. Tom Trento here at WNN.
Right.
Look, my dear friend Andy McCarthy, I was honored to be a co-author with Andy and 17 other people, 19 of us, on a book called Sharia, The Threat to America. And he's a phenomenal retired prosecutor from the Southern District in New York. He's written extensively on Islamic jihad, on the Marxist issue, all of this. He's now a Fox analyst, and he just wrote
brilliant guy.
Unbelievable book called Ball of Confusion, but that's not the title. The title is Ball of Collusion. And the thesis, the proposition, the main point of Andy McCarthy's book is that the Democrats are instigating and dealing in collusion. That's where the collusion is. He wrote an article overnight about yesterday's two witnesses, Ambassador Volker and Morrison, the State Department guy. And he basically said that, look, the Democrats are propagating 3 big lies in yesterday's impeachment hearing. Now, I'll maintain that these 3 big lies have become a foundation for their process, their inquisitory process each and every day. And here's the 3 big lies. The first big lie is that the policy community, Some people have given that a more sexy term. You know the more sexy term, Mark?
No.
For the policy community. That's Andy McCarthy's.
Oh, deep state?
Deep state, yeah.
Right.
The deep state is the policy community. These are the unelected officials who transcend presidencies because they go to the Ivy League schools. They want to be in the career foreign service, career intelligence. They get good jobs as analysts, basically, most of them. And they're paper pushers, but it's a cozy job working in Washington, D.C. with benefits and cocktail parties and anything. And you go, whoa, this is fun. I got to write a couple of papers every year. I get to go to a bunch of meetings. And in 20 years, I can retire at like 100% salary. Then I can get a big job on some board. I get in at 25, 45 years old. I got another career. Wow, I'm going to continue to do this. I like this. Well, what happens when you get into the policy community, the community that's creating policy for the elected officials. So the policy community does the analysis on countries like the Ukraine, and they hand that over to the elected officials, eventually to government officials, but ultimately to the President of the United States. And they say to the President of the United States, here's what we believe about the Ukraine or the Europe or whatever. You got to get this, folks. I want you to understand the process in Washington. You've got thousands of people from 20 years old, 22 years old, brilliant people, to 50 years old in the policy community that have been there for 10, 15, 20, 25, some 30 years. They don't want to be thrown out. They like business as usual. Since they got in 3 presidents ago, it's basically business as usual. The presidents didn't upset the apple cart with the policy community. The presidents skirted around on kind of incidental issues.
Right.
But the policy community, the deep state, kept their direction, their movement until November 3rd, 2016.
Upset the apple.
When a ball-busting president who says, I'm going to drain the swamp. That's who the swamp creatures are.
Yep.
The policy community. One of the big lies that was propagated yesterday was from the Democrat point of view, they are maintaining implicitly or explicitly, as the case may be, that the policy community, once they make a decision, that is U.S. policy. So the policy community, the deep state, had decisions how to handle the Ukraine, and the president wasn't buying it. We ain't doing this. So the Democrat inquisitors yesterday, Schiff and his cronies, therefore conclude, Andy McCarthy says illogically, Trump is wrong and needs to be impeached because he's disagreeing with the policy community, when in fact Schiff and his Democrat cronies have it just reversed. The policy community, the deep state, gives the information to Trump, and he can rip it up if he wants to, which he did basically. And he said, I ain't buying what you people are telling me. I think there's a problem in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Problem number one.
Let me see if I understand that, Tom. It's like, this is our house. Don't come in here messing with our house, you presidents. We got this under control. Don't come stomping in our graveyard, because this is our graveyard. We know what's going on. Stay the hell out. Is that basically it?
That's exactly what it is. And if you want to get involved, well, we'll wait a couple of minutes before we get people in here. But the second lie, and you're seeing this today, that the Democrat Party is trying to convince the general public of, is that this July 25th phone call between Zelensky, President Z, the comedian, the reformed comedian turned president, interesting guy, pretty good guy actually, the phone call that the president had with him, that we all know about now, that the transcript came out, all of that. The President Trump, indicated that there may be, the Ukraine may have been complicit in the hacking of Democrat emails, and that the intelligence agencies and the Mueller investigation assess that Russia was behind the hacking, but the president's thinking maybe the Ukraine was behind it. Well,
we have Nunez on here, Tom.
We have let's cut to him. Devin Nunes, who is the hero in all of the Mueller stuff.
Do you know that Ukrainian official by any chance that
I don't.
stated that? Were you aware that then Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. Chalet wrote an op-ed in The Hill during the 2016 presidential campaign criticizing then candidate Trump?
Not aware.
But you know that now.
I was just going to talk about that.
Last few months.
Correct.
Put him on hold.
So probably one of the more disturbing ones.
I want to make that point. It's a very, very important point. As you watch this or as you get the news reports, because all the lefty news reports, which is everybody except Fox at this point, they're going to be saying tonight, oh, my God, groundbreaking, all of this. Let me reassure all of the conservatives out there, all of my friends who are contacting me. Ambassador Gordon Sondland, he has not thrown the president under the bus. Not as of 11:23 in the morning, Tom Trento on WNN 1470 here with J. Mark Campbell and others, not to be mentioned. We have some visitors, but he has not, the ambassador of the EU, European Union, that's got to be a cushy job. He has not thrown the president under the bus because he's been very precise with his words about the quid pro quo, this for that the president requested. And I'll get into that in a second. But the second argument that the Democrats are using falsely is that they're drawing false conclusions that there's no evidence of Ukrainian interference in the 2016 election besides this theory that Ukraine was behind the hacking, and that the Russians did interfere. Therefore, the Ukrainians or the country Ukraine had nothing to do with the 2016 election. So Andy McCarthy is arguing that the Democrats are saying if the Ukrainians didn't interfere in this one little area here, but the Russians did in hacking the Democrat emails, then therefore the Russians did it and the Ukrainians are exonerated. No. McCarthy goes on to say this is disingenuous. Why? Because of what Devin Nunes is saying right now. There is significant evidence. This is unknown by, I think, everybody on the left and most conservatives. Unless you follow this directly, this is unknown, what I'm about to tell you. There is significant evidence. This is by one of the top prosecutors, former prosecutors in the country, Andy McCarthy. He's going on record saying there is significant evidence that Ukraine interfered in the 2016 election. Case closed. You can't fault President Trump for wanting to know how the Ukraine interfered in the 2016 election when somebody like Andy McCarthy says, there's not a little bit of evidence. There may be some evidence. Andy McCarthy.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around.
There is significant evidence that the Ukraine interfered in the 2006 election. Tom Trento, 888-565-1470. If you want to jump on, give us a call.
When Andy McCarthy says this type of stuff, he's coming from a federal prosecutor legalized viewpoint. He doesn't just he doesn't play Sean Hannity games. He doesn't play any of that type of stuff. It's rock.
Sean Hannity games. Sean Hannity's gonna be mad at you.
Well, yeah, he does. Well,
Sean
Hannity, he hyperbolics some stuff, but Andy is always the one that's from total fact. Just the FBI, just the facts, man. That's him.
Well, he goes on to say that the Democrat. Why do the Democrats want to suppress the fact that there's evidence that the Ukraine interfered in the 2016 election? That's a logical question. And the reason is because the interference was for, guess who? Hillary Clinton. The Ukraine interfered in the election on behalf of Hillary Clinton. That's a fact. How do we know? In 2018, a Ukrainian court, this is a Ukrainian court that is now dealing with all the corruption. So the good guys are in charge of the judiciary. A Ukrainian court concluded in late 2018, about a year ago, that Ukrainian officials, including a parliamentarian, a member of the parliament, and the anti-corruption police, interfered in the U.S. election for the benefit of Hillary Clinton. Tom Trento, 888-565-1470. If you want to come on, we'll let some people on now and chat a little bit. I'm going to read the third one, Mark, then we'll put Nunez back on. And what we're doing here at 1128, your host, Tom Trento. I run an organization called The United West. If you're just getting in your car, you're leaving work, you're going to drive to lunch, we're going to delay you. We're going to delay you a little bit because you're going to want to hear what all this is about. So if you got a 12 o'clock lunch appointment, and I'll text them that you're going to be there a little bit after 12. We end just about 12 o'clock. But you're going to want to listen to this stuff. The third reason why Andy McCarthy has gone on record saying the Democrats are lying. They are lying to the general public, and they are pushing three big lies in these impeachment hearings. The third argument is that the Democrats yesterday, they took great measure, they huge plans to elicit from the two witnesses yesterday, Morrison and Volker, Ambassador Volker, that there was no evidence of corruption in the Ukraine by former Vice President Joe Biden in connection with, obviously, everyone is aware that Burisma, the big gas and oil company in the Ukraine, was notoriously corrupt. Who is it? Okay, it was notoriously corrupt, and that Biden's son was getting paid, tens of thousands of dollars per month. The Andy McCarthy is saying the Democrats did not want any of that to come out. Nothing. They're just 86ing the situation. So today, as you watch or as you listen to Sodland, do it in the context that not only has there been an effort to impeach this president from day one, and this is all just 1,000 cuts to make people fatigue, get tired of Trump, but now the Democrat leadership has gone toward propagating lies in a legal construct that need to be exposed, and we're exposing them. Michelle's on the line. Hi, Michelle. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Weston.
Weston's a nice place this time of year. What's on your mind, Michelle?
What's on my mind is Canada backing pro-Palestine UN resolution.
Tell me about it. I don't know if I'm aware of that one yet.
In a sudden switch, Canada backs pro-Palestine UN resolution. So.
Okay,
they're kind of a disappointment.
You mean Justin Trudeau is a disappointment to you, Michelle? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah,
really, Justin Trudeau's a disappointment.
They're preoccupied pleasing the in movements, not Israel.
Look, there's more people in California. There's 40 million people in California than in Canada. There's more moose in Canada than people. And we love our neighbors to the north. But at some point in the next 5 or 10 years, we need to invade Canada and annex Canada to the United States.
That's not going to get us off the blacklist, Tom.
Yeah, I know. That won't get us off the blacklist. And straighten it. Look, they still are under the Queen of England up there. So we defeated the monarchy here in America. We need to go up there, do that, straighten that country out, get some great skiing and great hunting up there for all the Second Amendment people. But, yeah, they have gone.
Some good maple syrup, too.
Good maple syrup. What's happened in Canada for the counter-jihad people out there in the world, They have, like we have here, a refugee resettlement program. And if you bring a handful of Somalians into Minnesota, you have a handful of Somalians because there's 330 million people in the United States. But if they can populate a congressional district, you got a Jew-hating, American-hating Ilhan Omar as your congresswoman. Up there, you bring a handful of jihadi-prone Somalians, and per capita, it's larger influence. So it's taken less nefarious Muslim. Not every Muslim that immigrates to the West is bad. Many of them are. It doesn't take money to harm a country, and that's why we're blacklisted, because we explain stuff like this, but we also support it with facts. And Canada has been infiltrated, and the government has had opportunities over the past 15 years. Stephen Harper really held the line when he was the prime minister. He lost a close election. Trudeau is the prime minister. He's a total lefty, and he wants to make nice with Muslims without analyzing whether or not they're there to change the country or they're there to assimilate and become a Canadian. As a result, you get influence in the political structure, which has occurred in Canada, and then you get these crazy resolutions that come out where the country goes on record as taking positions against the United States, supportive of Israel, and against Israel's position. So what are we going to do about it? We got to make a lot of noise about it and alert people to the problem. That's all. What do you have any suggestions or solutions to the problem, Michelle?
I don't know. I would fear what God says when it comes to support of Israel, ultimately.
Yeah. On this show, if you've ever listened to this show, we are strong supporters. In fact, the United West has 4 mission objectives: defend the U.S. Constitution, defend the state of Israel. Now, the state of Israel doesn't need the United West flying F-35s defending it. It needs defense in the marketplace of ideas. That's the bigger battle that Israel faces. It can handle itself militarily. It does a terrible job in the area of public relations and communicating truly what's going on. When we say we defend Israel, we defend the idea of Israel, the concept of Israel, the Jewish people, the Israelis. That's what we do. That's one of our objectives. And we lead. Are you the Michelle from Jexit? Is that you?
That's me.
Oh, yes, of course. Michelle is one of the leaders of the Jexit movement. What is the Jexit movement, Michelle?
Jexit movement is an educational organization that tries to encourage and inform our Jewish brothers and sisters on why it's so important to, exit the Democratic Party, but in essence, the Democratic Party has abandoned us. So it's kind of more like we need to recognize that they've abandoned us. We're not abandoning them.
Yeah, exactly. The movement, hashtag Jexit, and I advise everybody to go to it, or jexitusa.org, the website. There's an argument is made that the Democrat Party of John F. Kennedy has completely abandoned common sense, morality, and become a party of the insane at the leadership top. So why should good people who historically are Democrats follow insane people? And if you need any more evidence than the fact that the Democrat Party has become insane, look at these insane hearings that are going on that are completely bogus nonsense. Michelle and others head up an organization that appeals to Democrats to say, why are you living in the horror of calling yourself something you know you're not, but you feel bad about leaving for sensitive reasons or because you're going to be ostracized by your friends at the club? Have the courage and fortitude to step out of the Democrat Party. You don't have to join another party. You don't have to do nothing, but at least align your moral soul with reality and get the hell out of that party. That's the Jexit movement.
And also I'd like to bring up, Tom, this is these are the types of organizations that we're here for, that we are here to help out. I mean, think of us kind of like a stick in the middle of a circle where all these people come into, and to help them get activated, to give them a voice on the air, to give them a way to get their message out, to help them with studio production, to help them with that. That is where we're at right now, trying to motivate people.
And Mark, in doing so, it empowers other people to not feel alone and to feel that they're not going to be ostracized. There are groups of people that have the same, ideas and ideals and values and morals, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give people a voice, and then they're joining our movement.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Absolutely. All right, Michelle, thank you very much. You're a
I
wonderful person.
Show.
Thanks for calling in. We'll see you. Tom Trento, 11:38 in the morning. Coming at you on WWNN, 1470. On the AM side, 1470. On the FM side, all of you who have old cars like me and your AM radio doesn't work, 95.3. And let's go to Roger. Roger's on hold. Hi, Roger. Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Tom and Mark? Dialing from Melbourne.
Melbourne, Florida. Wow.
Melbourne, Florida.
Melbourne, Florida. Good to hear from you. I'm open to discuss anything. If I don't know the answer, Mark will come up with something.
I'll make it up.
But we're dealing with the
answers. Okay, when someone else doesn't have an answer, you always have a logical answer.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. What's up?
I want to just make a point. Okay, these impeachment hearings that are going on, it's obvious that the Democrats have nothing and they can't rely on anything factual. So they're grasping at straws, which of course they've outlawed also. But the bottom line
that's
is
pretty good, Roger. That's pretty good.
Well, they can't even grasp a straw. They outlawed them. I mean, what do they got left? The Pfizer report, though, is going to be coming out. And my understanding or rumor is that might be by Tuesday.
Well, actually, what I heard from reliable sources is that, they're actually going to have the hearings on the 11th, according to Lindsey Graham. And that the report is definitely getting released no later than a week before. So that's the latest. So we're kind of coming up on your time frame there, Roger.
Okay. I'm hopeful. I certainly don't have any inside track on that. You guys not probably, but if there's anybody that's got a more of a direct line, you certainly do on that. But whenever the Pfizer report comes out, it's the Pfizer report that's really going to throw the final nail into their coffin. Because it's just going to turn everything right over and dump it right back that it's the Democrats that were cheating and lying and lied to the Pfizer court, all to accomplish their own agenda. And the agenda is to get Trump out of office, or to create so much turmoil during his presidency that he wouldn't be able to get anything done. But bottom line is you look at the economy and you look at everything that he's gotten done in the face of all of the resistance with the Democrat resist.
Well, Roger,
Yep.
I think this whole hearing stuff that's going on right now is a distraction, because they know what's coming out with the FISA and also with Durham coming up. They're tied to a train track, and they see that train coming down there, and they're screaming and kicking and trying to any type of distraction to get them off that track. And that's the whole purpose of this impeachment here, is a complete distraction to get. Do you agree, Tom?
Well, let's go back for the listening audience at 11:42. We're throwing terms, and here's the situation again. Most Americans don't follow this stuff because they have a brain. Yeah. And they got a life, okay?
And they have a job.
We don't have a life, and we're trying to explain stuff to people. But when you say FISA, if you put 100 people out there and said, the FISA report is coming out, they're going to think it has something to do with international soccer, something. FISA is an acronym for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and basically it was a law written by our government that said if our government thinks that a foreign agent is working in the United States, or even an American working for a foreign country, if there's sufficient evidence that some foreign enemy stuff is going on, well, we can initiate a warrant through the courts, through a judge, to investigate from an intelligence point of view, and to surveil, which is a fancy name for spying. So this law gave our government the capability to spy on foreign people or Americans if there was evidence that they were working for a foreign government. All right, that's the overview. Now, Roger, pick it up from there and share with the audience what you think the FISA report by this Justice Department, not the Obama Justice Department. They investigated. Bill Barr, Attorney General, investigated. The Obama Justice Department and Mueller and Comey and Brennan and all those guys, what do you think is going to come out in the FISA report about the FISA action against President Trump?
Well, I think that the warrants that they got to surveil on Americans and foreign agents, they lied to the FISA court, which of course you cannot do. And I think that the FISA report, when Barr comes out, he's an honest guy, I think, and I don't think he's going to try to cover anything up that the applications will expose. But I think the dominoes are going to fall from the report that he issues on FISA courts and the applications that were made. And it's going to delve back to the Clintons, and we're going to be able to tie things in, if not very directly. Certainly we're going to be able to tie in things like the Gulf Tanner contract that was given at Port Canaveral, because the Clintons were involved there, and they pushed that deal through without getting the security investigations that they're supposed to have gotten. They didn't have them done. They bypassed them on technicalities. Meanwhile,
Roger,
going to lead into all of that.
Yeah, there could be all kinds of ramifications. You're listening to Tom Trento, 1145 in the morning, and we have Roger on the line from Melbourne. 888-565-1470, 888-565-1470 is the number if you want to call in. Roger, let me explain, Mark, to both of you and to our audience, the FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Here's the deal. It's been bantied around like, you wave a piece of paper in front of a judge and he rubber stamps it. This is really serious stuff. To be a member of the FISA court, to be one of those judges, guess who appoints you? You're appointed by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court,
right?
John Roberts, the top judicial official in the United States of America, appoints the judges of the FISA court. They don't want to be bamboozled. They don't want to be lied to.
Well, especially, Tom, there is no representation if, like, say, anybody who comes up in front of the FISA court has no representation as a defense counsel.
That's another issue. First, I want to establish the fact of
highlight your point is this person has to be a solid individual who can look at both sides.
Beyond solid, he's got to be a 24-karat gold individual. Then they sit in a very highly secure courtroom inside the Department of Justice on Pennsylvania Avenue. So you got to go to one place. You got to walk down the halls, go in that room. But before that guy, if you screw with that guy, you're in trouble. What Roger's saying, what I believe, what Mark believes, what anybody with a brain believes, that absolutely this report, this investigation of the scam of the Obama administration, cooking the books with the justices, is going to explode. It was called Operation Crossfire. The FBI gave that name for the investigation into Donald Trump being a Russian agent. I think we all know. You know what? We're running out of time here. But, Mark, we have to do maybe in a few days, we'll do a timeline of the whole initiation of Operation Crossfire Hurricane.
Yes.
And just simply state it, Hillary Clinton wanted to get dirt on Donald Trump. She hires some guys who have background. I don't even get into all the names because it'll confuse people. Right. I want to give you the gestalt, the overview of the field. Hillary says, I got to get dirt on Trump.
Right.
And the guy's got money. He goes back and forth to Russia. He has beauty pageants in Russia. He wants to build buildings there.
Let's make some up.
Let's find some dirt on him in Russia or any place, wherever we can. So she hires a couple of people with intelligence backgrounds, and she starts paying them. And the DNC says, hey, Hillary, we want to get in on this too. We'll help pay for the research, the oppo, the opposition research you're doing. They get the opposition research, and out of it comes the dossier. Cue the music. The dossier. Dun, dun, dun. It's a report, a dossier. Well, it was done by a former MI6 intelligence officer.
And the thing about it is they can't come out and say this dossier was done by Hillary Clinton. They had to put a patina of credibility to it. So they have to give someone official look at.
So they got Christopher Steele,
which is no way wrote this dossier.
The dossier talks about, Trump being in a hotel.
This is
where
a
Obama
Democrat document.
It's nonsense. Everybody knew it was nonsense. When I read it, I said it was nonsense. But here's where Roger's point on the FISA report coming out next week, the week after. Here's where this plays in heavily. That dossier was then, by design, by federal officials. Comey is going to be behind this. That dossier was leaked to the press.
Yes.
The press, I think it was the Daily Beast that did the first article on it. They do an article on it. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, orchestrated by the same party that's now trying to impeach Donald Trump on Capitol Hill. Why is anybody a Democrat anymore? Listen to Michelle and Jexit your ass as soon as you can. Okay, so it's leaked to the Daily Beast. A report is there. Comey and his clowns go, oh, my God, this story's in the press. We can use the press report to go to the FISA court to get a FISA warrant.
Right.
They didn't tell the judge, we made the whole damn thing up, Judge.
Exactly.
This is going to be...
It's that circular reporting and what Pelosi indicated as being the wrap-up scam. Okay, she described that in an interview. She was accusing the Republicans of doing it, but it's actually her that wound up owning it because of the way she explained it. But they create a story, leak it, a false story. They leak it to the press, and then they rely on the press report as proof that the story is true. So with all
they
of
did no vetting. Yeah, basically, Roger, they did no vetting of the document whatsoever. They completely blew off all their procedures. It's called the Woods procedure. They completely just everybody signed off on it that it's true and valid and verified and certified and boom, 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 and took it to the court and said, hey, this is a solid, verified document. The judge looks like, hey, you guys vetted this? Yep, we vetted this. That's what they're going to get burnt on. That right there is what they're going to get burnt on.
They created a lot of BS, put it in there, and then they relied on the BS and claimed it to be factual, which is, the lie, and that's what we're all talking about. I got one quick question because I know you're running out of time.
Yep.
How long do you think it's going to be before all of this ties together? Because we keep bouncing from one thing to another. They keep going from, Russian collusion to Stormy Daniels, and then this, and now we're going from the initial charge here of corruption, and then now it's bribery, and next it's going to be jaywalking, and it's all hearsay. Nobody actually.
I'm waiting for the creepy porn lawyer to come back.
Yeah, he'll come back.
Yeah, well, he's going to run for president. Okay.
All right, Roger, that was a very good question. Thank you. You can take off and drive or walk safely or whatever you're doing. And
I'm potting down.
Yeah, we're gonna bring things to a close here. But listen to the show, because I was going to raise that very, very question. And I'll raise the rhetorical question. Once this Barr report, Attorney General Barr, once his report, headed up by David Horowitz right now, once the report about the circular reasoning of the Obama administration to frame Donald Trump, once that comes out, rhetorical question to all the listeners out there, what do you think, Adam Schiff?
Conspiracy.
What do you think Jim Comey is going to say?
Conspiracy theory.
What do you think Brennan is going to say?
Conspiracy theory.
Clapper, James Clapper.
Conspiracy.
McCabe, Strzok. All of the complicit, all of the guilty parties. What are they? A better question, a better rhetorical question. What is the average Democrat going to say when you see the president you so admired, Barack Obama, was at the pinnacle of this?
Yep.
This not only was not done without his knowledge, it was done with his direction, with his assistance, but in such a way so that there's deniable plausibility, plausible deniability, which when all the testimony comes out, there's going to be a gap where, if you want, you can say, you know what, they did it behind the president's back. And the dopey Democrats will say, oh, okay, so the president wasn't responsible, but everybody else is. They scammed him.
I got a question for you.
Let me stipulate. Okay, go ahead. Let me stipulate that that happens. Somehow the president is not implicated. How about all the other federal agents, intelligence agents, from the CIA to the DNI to the FBI? What are you Democrats? And I'm appealing to the average Democrat now. What are you going to say when your whole hatred is horrible, but your whole motif of hatred against Donald Trump, because you don't like, because he aggravates you, because he curses and he makes a lot of noise. Look at the frivolity of your reason for hating Trump. Is it based in policy? He wants to protect the borders of the country.
Emotion.
Is it based in economics? He wants you to have the best economic country you possibly can have, which he gave you. Is it based in employment, to increase employment, decrease unemployment in all demographic groups, which he's accomplished? This guy's accomplished more than the past 3 presidents, and he's had an army of people trying to destroy him each and every day of the past 3 years. Give the guy a break. Wake up, Democrats.
Exactly.
You got a rotten party with rotten leaders, and it's coming out. The day of reckoning is around the corner. And I want to conclude today with a Bible verse. I happen to like the Bible. And I want to conclude with a Bible verse. And where'd my Bible verse go? Well, here it is, right here. It's out of the book of Proverbs, a book written. Proverb is a little pithy, P-I-T-H-Y, pithy or succinct statement that has a lot of weight to it. A few words, but a lot of weight. In light of today's show, Tom Trento, 11:56:42 in the afternoon, WNN 1470. I want everybody to have a wonderful day tomorrow. But I want to leave you on this thought out of the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 20. Very, very appropriate. One verse. And I'm reading from the Bible. A good thing for you to do every once in a while. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Let me say that again. For everybody at the U.S. Congress right now, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. You hang around with fools, you're going to be harmed. You want to be wise? Walk with the wise. I want all of you to have a wonderful day. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at these hearings because they're important. But I want to bring you some very important information from Israel. Don't forget, we're going next May. Contact us, TUW at theunitedwest.org, if you want to come on our trip to Israel, or go to the website Jerusalem Day 2020, Jerusalem Day 2020, and look at the website.com, JerusalemDay2020.com. If you're inclined to help us out with a donation, go to our website, theunitedwest.org. We run this program on your donations. We eat lunch on your donations. We put gas in our car on your donations. And right now, our tanks are empty. Our stomachs are empty. But our hearts are full. We love you. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.